KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We are live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, and you heard Tim Conway Jr. start the discussion about it, and I'm going to continue it for the time being regarding the regional jet and helicopter which collided near D.C. Reagan National Airport in the past hour. There is video that you can find on like NBC4 of the incident. It's somewhat blurry, but you can see the impact in real time. We don't have specifics as far as the why. We do know that it was a regional jet operating under the banner of American Airlines, which collided with a Black Hawk helicopter on approach to Reagan Airport. And we know that Andrew Caravella, who's in for Mark Ronner tonight, is on the story. We'll have more probably at the break. But we are watching that story right now. Also coming up on the show tonight, we have an update on Waymo. To all of you not going to like it, they're footloose and fancy free on the freeways now.
Wait, I wouldn't like that? I love that.
Your accidents are going to go up. You're going to have to defend it more now than ever before.
Look, you know what we're not going to get with a Waymo? Someone pulling over, getting out, trying to smash your car, no runners. We're not getting any of that.
Yes, we are, because the traffic on the freeways, bumper to bumper, yeah, it's happening.
It's not going to happen.
We'll see. Also joining us in studio tonight, JoJo Wright from our partner station, Kiss FM 102.7. He's going to give us the latest on the FireAid concert we've been telling you about, which is going to be happening tomorrow at both Intuit Dome and Kia Forum. And the LA Olympics. They're not exactly on schedule in a transportation sense or a preparation sense. Remember how they were trying to bill it as a car-free Olympics? That may be more and more of a pipe dream at this point. We'll give you the latest on that. Wellness Wednesday is back with Claudine Cooper, the nice exercise lady, who will join us in studio to basically kick off the year. I know it's been a while since we heard from her, but she is back, and we're back with our wellness tips and hints and recommendations for you. And oh goodness, at the bottom of the second hour, I'll be joined on the line by the incomparable George Wallace. Yes, I have no idea what is going to happen. Well, I know what's going to happen. It's going to be out of my control. That's what's going to happen. But he's going to tell us about his new show, which is coming on Amazon Prime on February 6th, called Clean Slate. And it's actually the final television project thought of or created by Norman Lear. It's his last project. George Wallace is co-executive producer, along with Laverne Cox, who's co-starring it and also co-executive producer.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the incomparable George Wallace told us about this project maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes, he did.
When it was the Mo Kelly show on weekends.
He did, and he'll probably, if you know the history of the show, he said that this has been in development for about 7 years. So yes, and the rundown of the show is real simple, and it's probably going to be very funny. George Wallace plays the owner of a car wash down south, and he has an estranged son. The son moves away. They don't speak for 23 years. The son wants to re-engage with his father, rings the doorbell, and then George Wallace's character realizes that his son has transitioned and now is a trans woman, and the hilarity begins.
I can't wait.
Oh, I know. And I just know with George Wallace, is really probably very definitely politically incorrect, make you uncomfortable. And if it's from the mind of Norman Lear, you know his history of making all things uncomfortable, funny, topical, timely. So can't wait to have that conversation with him. That will be at the bottom of the second hour. Of course, it's Wednesday. That means we got the viral load with Tiffany Hobbs, who'll be joining us in studio, and so much more. I got to say hello to Andrew Caravella, who's in tonight for Mark Ronner. How you doing, man?
Yeah, pretty good. Thanks for saying hello. Hello back at you.
Hey, about that shirt. Where'd you get that shirt? It's a nice shirt you're wearing. Tell us about the shirt you're wearing.
I found it actually on eBay.
Oh, really? What does it say?
Well, it says Later with Mo Kelly.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, and I got a great discount on it. I haggled with the guy, so.
Well, hopefully you didn't pay too much for it, because we were giving away for free.
Yeah, so no, I don't know if you have your own store online like Etsy or something.
No, I don't.
You should sell these, man.
You know what? If I had more time and a staff, I just can't do all that. I try to concentrate on content. Maybe if Stephen had more time, I'll make him in charge of the store or something.
There we
go. He laughed like hells no. He said, right. I got enough to do. We got a lot to do. When we come back, we'll give you the update on Waymo. And obviously, we'll give you the latest regarding the plane crash in the Washington, D.C. area in the Potomac River and the latest on that with Andrew Caravella. It's later with Mo Kelly, KFIM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
This is going to impact everyone in this studio. And probably you right now, if you're listening on the 10 freeway, the 110, the 90, or the 405. Waymo is going to begin testing fully autonomous passenger cars on LA freeways this week. And the initial testing, again, will be on the 10, the 110, the 90, and the 405 freeways. What do they all have in common? They move very slowly, pretty much. It took me an hour freaking half to get here today. An hour and a half, leaving at 3:15, couldn't get here until 4:45. For all my cynicism, I'm quite sure Waymo can handle 10 miles an hour on the 110 to the 5 to the 134 or whatever freeways they can go outside of the 10, 110, 90, and the 405. 405 is not moving fast.
No. The 5 isn't moving fast.
No.
The 118 to the 170 to the 5. No, none of that is moving fast.
110.
No, not at all. Nope. And I'm quite sure that has been figured into the calculation of how they're going to test these vehicles. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know, Andrew did a story on it, but I didn't hear it. I don't know if they're going to be in the carpool lanes as well. If so, if they're only navigating one or two lanes, that probably would be helpful as well.
I'm with it. I have never come across a Waymo that was driving crazy, acting erratic, or anything that I see on the freeway every single time on my way here. There are individuals who are on these highways and byways acting as if there is no one else there and they're on a slalom course, just swishing back and forth across lanes like they have zero common sense.
And they assume because, they can drive as well as anyone in Fast and Furious, that it's okay for them to drive 80 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, recklessly in and out of traffic. And I'm the driver who's saying, okay, you're assuming that I see you. You're assuming that I can react or will react in the best way possible for you. You're making the assumption that I'm going to drive in a sane manner while you drive in an insane manner. What happens if I drive in an insane manner at the same time? You didn't think about that. That's where the accidents happen. Grandma doesn't see you or doesn't look over his shoulder, tries to make a lane change. You're coming in at 85, 90 miles an hour. Bam, that's the end of that.
Or, and I saw this a couple times on the freeway today. There's someone that's on their phone.
Oh, everybody's on the phone.
So
that might as well be everyone.
Not looking and not paying attention.
And it's really difficult for me since I drive an SUV now, and I know you do as well, Twal. We talked about this on the air. It's even more difficult to see, for example, a motorcycle who might be lane splitting. And my focus is for like a motorcycle or something like that, not the idiot who's doing 105 miles an hour, weaving in and out.
Yeah.
I'm worried about accidentally hitting the motorcycle. Yeah, I can't. I'm making the assumption that most people are going to drive like they got some decent sense about them.
I have a real question, and this is for you, Foosh. Being that up until what's going to happen this weekend, Uber drivers still ruled the road, or rideshare drivers still ruled the road because they were able to get on the highways and byways and all that, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that this now stands to encroach even further on your business?
Probably, I would believe that to be true, but there's a lot of mows out there that are still really scared.
A lot of mows. A lot of mows.
A lot of mows.
In different area codes.
Nice.
I let me disagree with that slightly, if only because until you have the coverage that an Uber or a Lyft or some other rideshare company would have. Right now, they're still testing, and even when they're cleared, if and when they're cleared for the freeways, it's not like Waymo is everywhere. It's not like you can get Waymo everywhere all the time, going anywhere. It's still very, very limited. Is that going to be the same in maybe 2 years? I don't know. But I'm not so sure that the trajectory is such that it's going to take over the rideshare industry. I don't see that.
I think it might be one of those things where, Uber came, then Lyft came kind of second, and you have the choice between one of those. I think it's just going to be a third option, but because, like you just said, there's not as many as us out there. So if you order one at some point, random point of the day or night, you might wait as long as you wait for a taxi.
And here's the thing.
That's the only thing.
If I'm coming back from a trip, I'm at LAX, I have to know and believe that when I call the rideshare, it's going to get there about the same amount of time, or it's going to take about as long to get there as any other rideshare. We're nowhere near that. I know when I come back from LAX and I'm getting an Uber to my house, there are, some 60, 70 cars in the rideshare area picking up people going to various destinations. That for me is the litmus test. Unless I am expecting to see some 60 or 70 Waymos, we're nowhere near putting anyone out of business. I mean, you still have you still have Ubers, Lyfts, and taxis. Taxis still have a very a dominant space in most airports because they've reconfigured it and they've relegated rideshare to bum frick Egypt, where they can't get real close to picking up passengers like they used to.
Yeah, a perfect example is I picked up one guy from his place to the airport. He goes, the Uber was so far away. I just said, forget it, F it. I'm just going to take this taxi. And it was like triple the price of what I would have paid if I got the Uber. But I'm not going to wait 45 minutes.
Right. And yes, you have to pay for that. And I'm quite sure if Waymo were to grow, they would do the same thing to Waymo, where they're relegated to the opposite end of the airport where it's less than convenient, because that's the only thing that's keeping taxis in business anymore. The fact that they have preferential access to places like airports that Uber used to have no longer has.
Yeah, I would say taxis or airport, specifically LAX, is where taxis are still kind of not king, but they have more privilege. And it's funny because I know Mo knows the area in Hermosa Beach, there used to be a spot where it was specifically made for taxis. Yep. And in the beginning, when I used to go pick people up, there would literally be cops waving us away because it's like, oh, that's only for taxis. Fast forward a year later, now it says taxis, Ubers, and Lyfts only can park here.
Mm-hmm.
So
that means Waymo can't access.
That's fine. You're talking about a minor issue for this technology juggernaut that is going to be literally driving us into the future.
Yeah, I don't think it's minor. I think you're going to have to change some laws like they did in San Francisco, like they did for airports, where if they see that Waymo is actually on the precipice of encroaching on not only the territory, but the business model of taxis and rideshare, there are other corporate interests who are going to step in and make sure that doesn't happen. Waymo right now is a novelty. Oh, it's a driverless car. They're working in certain cities, not everywhere. They're just now getting on the freeway. Not all freeways. It's nowhere near to the point where the automotive industry or the rideshare industry has to really be concerned about what the future is going to be. When we come back, JoJo Wright, host of JoJo on the Radio on Kiss FM 102.7, is going to join us in studio and give us the latest on FireAid. So keep it right here.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Los Angeles. This is JoJo on the Radio.
All right, let's go, you guys. 3-0 click. What up? It's JoJo on the Radio officially. Shining on.
JoJo on the radio.
JoJo on the radio.
KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Yes, that was the voice of JoJo Wright, who hosts the Top 40 radio show JoJo on the Radio, which airs weeknights from 3 to 7 p.m. on our partner station, Kiss FM, and is nationally syndicated in more than 60 markets. JoJo, it's good to see you again, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing. How you been?
Look, I'm tired because we were talking off air about Southern California, moving through the fires, and we approached it from different vantage points. I was looking at it from a news and information standpoint. So I have to look at everything, take everything into account, get as much information as possible, make sure that it's accurate. And it can be emotionally draining because you're hearing all the worst of the horrible.
It's exhausting. I mean, keep in mind, none of us, well, I assume your house and your family, everybody's cool. But
Yes,
aside from that, just I think we're all just exhausted. It's so much as far as from this side of it, just keeping track of everything. And you want to say the right thing, and it's just, you want to help people. The night that got me, on KISS was when everything got me, but when I was on, and I think the crucial part for me was when the Hollywood Hills fire happened. Mm-hmm. And all I could think of was, because they were calling me, JoJo, start saying, everybody get out. Because I could think of all those people coming down those super narrow roads and the emergency crews having to go up. And if the fire goes the wrong way, that was scary for me.
If you've ever driven Beverly Glen or, Coldwater Canyon or Laurel Canyon, it's one lane in each direction and one car could set off a chain reaction.
It's nuts. I don't know how you get up and down on a normal day, much less the fire burning and chaos. But that for me, as far as on air, was just one of those moments where, man, we got to get these people out, but you don't want them to panic either. So that was scary.
I know what I had to do, but I work for a news talk station, but working for a music station. How do you maneuver and navigate that fine line between, let's hear some Beyonce, let's hear, some Rihanna. Yeah. And by the way, LA's burning down.
That's the tricky one for KISS FM is because, but I guess the one thing we were talking about off air, that's the one easy thing about it is because when you're on the radio or doing any kind of show like this on a daily or weekly basis, you're always wondering what people want you to talk about. What's the hot button? But in a situation like that, that there's only one topic. It's the fire or Dodgers in the World Series. There's only one thing to talk about. But this is even more crucial than that. And so it was easy to know what to talk about. But I'd say my piece. All right, here's Beyonce, and I'll come back and we'd interrupt songs if something happened that I needed to get on right at the moment. But it's tough, from a music standpoint to do that. And then when do you transition? Because, they come to us for different things. They come to you for news, information, and all that, but they come to me at times to escape from it. So when do you make that transition? But still, you're part of the community. So you want to make sure everybody knows you're compassionate about what's going on, and you've lived it too, and our suitcases are packed. But at what point do you make the transition and play more music and less information?
This is all an inexact science, if you will, and we do the best we can with what we have right where we are. One good thing I can say is I think by and large, we're moving away from crisis and more to recovery. And with that in mind, we have the FireAid concert tomorrow night.
Right.
2 different venues, Intuit Dome and also Kia Forum. I know from my time when I was working in the business, I know that this is a big deal. Someone who may be listening to talk radio, KFI, may not know how big a deal this is given the amount of talent on hand. How would you characterize it?
I think, it's hard to get, that many artists to agree to one schedule. I think it takes something like this to really bring it together, but everybody came through. Normally, it's impossible. I mean, aside from the We Are the Worlds, if you've seen that Netflix special,
yes.
It's hard to get everybody in one room at the same time, and they've done it. And they've got 2 venues, obviously, like you said. And I think the way it's going to work is, as far as the broadcast. Because one of the shows, I think the Kia Forum show starts a little earlier, but the broadcast basically starts at 7:00 on iHeartRadio and on KISS FM, among other platforms. But somebody will be on one stage at the Intuit Dome. There they do their thing. As they're doing their thing, somebody's setting up at the Kia Forum. Boom.
Oh, so they will go back and forth.
To my understanding, I could be completely wrong, but that's what I was initially told. And then back and forth. And if you buy tickets for the Intuit Dome, you'll see what's happening at the Kia Forum on the screen. So you'll see both, but you'll witness in person only one. You can only buy tickets, or you can only be in one place at one time, obviously. So that's kind of how it's going to work.
I've worked on a lot of concerts. That sounds like a logistical nightmare. And kudos to the stage managers.
Oh my God!
Because we all know it doesn't take much to throw a concert off.
One person stuck in traffic. Good luck.
Or a sound issue where there's a mic not working or a lighting cue is not working, and all of a sudden it all goes to hell.
And it's going to happen. It's
going to happen.
And I was talking to Tate McRae, she's performing at Young Artist, which I love. Tate, we had her on Tuesday, and yesterday. God, the days are kind of going. Yeah, I said, when are you going to rehearse for this? And she said, well, I'm rehearsing the day before. So basically, she spent today rehearsing. So I'm guessing all of them are, doing their rehearsals of some sort, today. And so hopefully things are going smooth. I'm sure they're working through as many bugs as they can, but something's going to go wrong. It's just that's what happens when it's live. And tickets are still, there are some seats left. All the money goes to fire relief. So if anybody can drop some cash over there, help out. That'd be great.
You made mention of We Are the World. We talked about this last night. Want to bring you into that conversation. For those who don't know, We Are the World was taped right after the American Music Awards.
Right.
Lionel Richie was the host, and he helped coordinate along with Quincy Jones, getting all these artists together. To your knowledge, has there been any discussion of doing something similar, since we do know that this came together in part because the Grammys are on Sunday? Everyone is coming to LA anyway. So it helped. Yeah, Grammys are on Sunday. You might go to Clive's party the night before.
Right.
Come in 2 days early and do one more performance.
I'm sure I haven't heard talk of that, but I would guarantee that helped in the scheduling. But it wasn't the only thing. I mean, some of these artists were all over the place, and I think, I think that they, if they weren't affected personally, they, a lot of these artists are based in LA or have friends or have worked here. I'm sure they know somebody. We all know someone who's affected.
Yes.
And, I think they're in that same boat. They know someone who's affected and they've seen it on the news. It looks like a war zone in some of these areas. I haven't seen some of these areas personally. I've stayed away for obvious reasons. But, what I've seen and what I've heard from friends and whatnot, it's just terrible. So I think they're people too, and they see what happened and they just kind of cleared their schedule for it.
I was trying to explain to people, it's not often that you're going to see this magnitude of talent in any one venue, much less two, and yes, tickets are still available, but you could pay for the highest price here and you still would not be able to get the same type of value with all these people available for one show. You, once upon a time, had worked with Michael Jackson. We're going to tie all this together.
Oh, here we go.
You worked with Michael Jackson.
Well, I did one event with him.
Well, that's still working with him.
Right. Okay.
Okay. And there was some cake thrown in your face or something like that.
That was, I'm a big Michael Jackson fan. Huge. And, I met him. It was 2003. I've told the story so many times. Yeah. 2003. And they asked me, Michael was having a charity event at Neverland. There were two, daytime and a nighttime. And, they said, "Hey, JoJo, would you like to come and host, the nighttime charity event?" Of course, I've probably spit out the drink.
Would I?
Yeah. So we roll up to Neverland, and it was beautiful. We got a tour of some of the venue, some of the grounds, and then he comes. I didn't think he was going to be there for some reason. In my
Did you
head,
ride the train?
Did I ride the train?
Yeah.
I did not at the time. By the time I got there in the evening, the train was closed down. So I missed the train. Can you believe? I didn't see the zoo, I believe, was open, but I didn't get a chance. I didn't go into the zoo. I did go into the movie theater. And you'll see the theater, and we walked in and there's like Michael Jackson memorabilia everywhere. It was just, there's a little, as I'm walking on the grounds, there was a little tiny house. And, I walked into this house in the middle of this field, and, it was a big video game kind of, just a bunch of video games. And you see the birdhouses in the middle of the, on these stands. And I guess those were cameras, just.
I'm sure.
Yeah. All that good stuff. But they had a big, circus like tent put up for this event. And, I go on stage, and we're, all the people who paid to be there, the charity.
I'm quite sure there are a lot of stars in the house.
You know what? Well, here's what I'm getting to. I go on stage, and all the fans are there and whatnot. And this guy kind of, he's on the ground. He says, "JoJo, do me a favor." I'm like, "What's up? Can you page Nick and Aaron Carter, Backstreet Boys?"
Yeah.
Nick, Aaron, his younger brother, who's passed recently, but they were there. So, and I had known Nick and Aaron for quite a while, so that wasn't like a big super shocker, But then he goes, "Hey, JoJo, can you page Mike Tyson to come to the stage?" I'm like, "Say what?" So I paged Mike Tyson. I never saw him personally, but he was there. I found out later that there was an Oscar de la Hoya fight that same night, and they put the fight on in Michael's theater on the ground. So I guess, Mike Tyson was there watching this Oscar fight. So if you want to know the exact day this happened, it was 2003, whenever the Oscar fight was. And Michael comes up, and I said, yeah, Michael, do you want the mic? He goes, no, I'm fine. And that's it, And he was so nice, but you could tell he was in charge, the crowd goes crazy, and Michael bends down and grabs a piece of cake because we bring him a cake up and sing happy birthday, whatever. It wasn't his birthday, but it's not too far from then, I think, or whatever. Grabs a piece of cake, gives it to a little girl in the audience, and I have the mic kind of in the background. And I've heard about these cake fights, and I thought, well, let me try this. I said, oh no, we're going to have a cake fight or something to that effect. And sure enough, him and Nick and Aaron Carter start flinging cake, and then he spins around and looks at me, and he's got cake in his hand, but he stops because I'm guessing he's thinking, I don't know if I should throw cake on this guy. I don't know him. And I said, and I hope it's all a blur to me, but I said something to the effect of, hit me, Michael. and he hit me, JoJo. Oh my God. And he was an expert cake madman. And I ended up taking the finish to the story. I ended up taking a shower at the guest house.
Oh wow.
At Neverland, which, it was just me. But took a shower in the guest house and took off to LA after that.
The reason I wanted you to tell that story is because going back to FireAid, there are a few moments where you have these stories that you'll be able to tell for life, that you'll be able to see this person perform, that person perform, be a part of a moment in history. And I say, as we get older, the only thing we really have of value are the stories that we have to share.
That's what we got. That's it. So you're going to see some things happen at this show that only happen here. And moments that probably for the artist as well only happen for them as well. I know Tate was talking to me about she's buddies with Olivia Rodrigo and Gracie Abrams, and they're going to be there, and they'll have a moment too. I'm sure. I'm not sure if they're performing together. Who knows? But it's going to be a special event for a needed, as we all know, a needed cause because LA's been through it.
You want to be there, you can get tickets still right now at Ticketmaster.com. You can go to FireAidLA.org. My guest has been JoJo Wright, host of Top 40 radio show JoJo on the Radio. You know this. You can hear him every weeknight from 3 to 7 on our partner station Kiss FM and nationally syndicated in more than 60 markets. JoJo, it's good to see you. I see you, going up and down the elevator, but it's not often we get to talk on the air.
It's a real pleasure, man. And by the way, I check, I listen to you all the time because I'm leaving kind of when we switch. Right. Mm-hmm. And especially when these moments like these fires happen, and you guys, I mean, I'm not just saying this because we're sister stations and whatnot. I mean, you guys just, like, I know you went on, like, I think you stayed on late, and Conway came back on after you that one night. And,
more than once.
Wow, you guys, I mean, the way you covered these fires, I mean, it's not just great radio. You were helping. I mean, it was amazing what you did. You guys are going to get some, not that you're doing it for awards, but you need awards for what you guys did. It was phenomenal how you covered and helped the people of LA because it was spectacular.
I just wanted to help someone. If we help one or two people, then that's award and reward enough.
Amen.
JoJo, I'll see you soon.
Absolutely. I see you probably in the parking garage or the elevator or whatever.
It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Believe it or not, when I say the Olympics are almost here, you have to think of them in terms of the year before the Olympics. You're not going to be really preparing for the Olympics the year of the Olympics. You may be putting on some finishing touches, but your venues need to be in place. You need your infrastructure already in place by 2027. I think that's actually probably an aggressive consideration. It's probably even earlier than that. But we heard Mayor Karen Bass trying to make the argument that LA would be ready for the Olympics and we would have a car-free Olympics in 2028. And that idea is not going over well, or people are not buying into the idea. And thousands of people were surveyed about whether it was going to happen. And for the most part, only 27% saying that they are, 27% said they aren't confident the city will meet its deadline to improve public transit infrastructure ahead of the 2028 Summer Olympics. And I think that's actually high, given the fact that we don't usually have anything positive to say or experience with our mass transit. And I say this as someone who is pro public transit. When I was in college, didn't have a car, Washington, D.C., I got everywhere on the subway. And for me, Washington, D.C. was the gold standard. And at least a reference point on how it's going to be done or should be done. Granted, Washington, D.C. is not spread out like Los Angeles City and Los Angeles County, But the way it was done, the way it was laid out, it made sense. It took you to all the places that you would need to go. You could go to the monuments. You could go to the shopping centers. You can go downtown. You could go, obviously, to the airports. You go to the Dulles Airport. You can go to Reagan National Airport. It all made sense. Well, LA subway is not built that way. It is very limited. Even though it's grown over the past 30 years, it's still very limited. They still haven't connected it to LAX. Not yet. Just for example. So Karen Bass was very ambitious in the proclamation that it would be a car-free Olympics. And the meaning was you would not need a car to get to any of the venues or any of the events. I wish, but if you can't even get a hold on the crime issue, I don't know exactly how that's going to work. Of course, there's going to be more security for the Olympics, of course. But you have to be able to demonstrate proficiency prior to that point. You can't say, well, when the Olympics comes, it'll be better. It'll be all better, that we don't have to worry about it. No. You got to worry about it now. And there are other infrastructure considerations which have to be made to make this a car-free Olympics. You're talking about thousands and thousands of people, presumably, who would be going to these different Olympic events and would have to rely on public transportation. When I say public transportation, you can't get everywhere by actual train. You might have to take some buses. And I don't know about that. I genuinely don't know about that. It's 2025. Let's call it February of 2025. You got about 2 years to get it right and get it done. And we are behind schedule. KFI AM 640, we are live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Nothing gets past us. We are on it.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere.